Those are some of the problematic stuff they do, right?
Well, there's a bunch of
Now, I'm no fan of DSA or
one of them.
Are you B leadership?
or what's it called? The other big socialist organization. I'm not a fan of any of those. But
in leadership.
There's no such person. We don't have that. We have
but this is violence,
We're the
right?
Black Alliance for Peace, and we're not white-led whatsoever. We're a whole Black Alliance organization, and we're speaking for the same thing.
You're here because PSL posted something.
No,
That's not true.
That's not true.
You came under an assumption. This is a coalition.
With other organizations as well.
Okay,
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they're doing. They're attacking the PSL.
It's not a
He
PSL.
signed on. He was one of the.
You are today being right.
Exactly what they're doing. So this is not what I'm co-signing at all. Now, don't get it wrong. Sometimes we have to get into it, but going and instigating stuff, just to instigate stuff, just to sow the vision.
Hey, relax.
The organizational that you represent.
That's cool.
So basically, they showed up just to talk
You
men.
should have been out in the community, not come and yell at me. This is not the situation.
I don't give a I'm gonna make no
That's cool too.
I'm gonna hop around. This is some of what I'm talking about, of like how they move this wild, right? It's not how we want to be moving. You know what I mean? And mind you, they're doing this with straps. I do believe people being strapped up. Yeah. We're gonna stop this here. I do believe in people being strapped up. To be clear, even in actions, I went too far. I went the wrong way. Even in actions, but like the thing is, we shouldn't be going to seek to cause conflict with other like people trying to organize, right? And we should actually seek to find common ground that we can struggle together. But yeah, that's exactly what they're doing, attacking PSL. Now that's what we don't want to do, right? And we also don't want to become a cult, to be clear, because they are definitely a cult. There's no question. There's also like this person right here. If you later on, like they put out like about 5 months ago or something, a video calling out how they escaped the cult. This person right here, you know what I mean? I don't know if I should play some of that or not, but I probably shouldn't, because the thing is, Black Hammer censors their stuff, and I'm sure everybody's seen this and stuff. That's wild and stuff. But here's the things that is crucial, right? So there was a lot of things about this that really appeal to me as things we need to be doing, right? So if you notice, bringing back tabling.
Majority of colonized people. I see the decades ahead to be no different. In fact, our struggle against oppression.
So they would table and politically do political education.
We're tired of hamster wheel protests. We're tired of seeing our community suffer with ignorance from the
and doing speak outs like this. But another thing they do, and I'm gonna try to find it real quick while we're looking at this. But there's another thing they would do with a lot of mutual aid, right? They would show up and they would look out for people that are houseless. They'd reach out, and a lot of the recruitment happened because of this, right? Because of reaching out, because sitting down and tabling. They had this thing. I'm not gonna really get into what they're talking about right now because it's not really what's important. They'd also have these events that would happen where they would show up, and it's wild because it reminds me of some of the events we used to do, right? Right, show up, and have like community church type situation.
Coming together to build some power for ourselves, to build some
and they spend time with those folks who were like necessarily beyond the blocks. They people that would be houseless. They spent time with people who were literally at the bottom of the situation. They were very oppressed. And we, a lot of times, like leftists, I see us missing the mark with this. And it just is really frustrating to see that cults are the ones that are taking that place. Because the reason they got a lot of recruitment, for example, is not only spend time in the community with community members, moving and speaking, but they were also giving out masks, right? They gave out thousands and thousands upon masks. They were giving out food. These things, I'm trying to give y'all little examples. We're not going to go into what they're doing and like all the rhetoric and stuff. I just want to give y'all examples of some of the stuff they were doing that was actually really base building. And the thing is, that's really dangerous when the only people that are doing base building organizing on the ground are cults, right? Because people, some of the interviews from the ex-members was they were trying to find revolutionary organization, right? Where they could really build that foundation to build a decolonial movement. Maybe it wasn't on this channel. I'm trying to find the stuff where they're giving out food. I'm having a hard time finding it right now. shoot, I went through so much video. I should have had it queued up. Anyways, but hopefully, are y'all familiar with these folks? Are y'all familiar with Black Hammer? I'm gonna stop the screen share real quick. Let me know. If you don't, I can break down a little bit more. Again, I don't want to spoil anything for the videos coming up, but you would see them out, and they would take U-Haul trucks to different communities, and they were national. So the cult house was one thing, but they also had a national organization, an international organization. Apparently, I don't know about the international being real, but that's what they're saying. But they had multiple spots in multiple states with people organizing, and they would show up where a lot of the houseless community was, right? And they would show up with like U-Hauls full of stuff, full of food, full of materials, blankets, and they would actually go and organize. As for also like the one rally I think I was showing you. Let me go back actually real quick and pop this back up. The one rally I was showing y'all was actually someone who got arrested apparently, and they showed up off the top to like this one right here to like protest someone's harassment. Oh, actually, no, sorry. I'm completely. Yeah, nah, harassment by police. So they would show up and it caused smoke where there was problems like with the police and stuff like that. People were getting hammed up. They would show up and do what cop watch used to do, but just in a very different type of way. You know what I mean? So that was like to deal with just harassment, right? But their thing is, like I said, Black Hammer, no good. Okay, so let me. I've never heard anything about Black Hammer. That was smearing them. So I need to sorry. I've never heard anything about Black Hammer that wasn't smearing them. So if they need any benefit of the doubt, I wouldn't mind hearing it. No, they don't. They don't need benefit of the doubt. They are absolutely a fucking cult. What I'm criticizing, the reason I'm playing this out there is they were taking a lot of the revolutionary infrastructure components that we need to be building, and they were utilizing them. And because of that, they were able to take, especially young folks who were very revolutionary minded, and recruit them into their ranks. You know what I mean? And that's what I'm saying. Like, there's things they were doing right, but for the wrong reasons, right? Because Black Hammer is at this point like an anti-Semitic right-wing cult, like is what it is. However, some of the way they navigated that built their like infrastructure and built their membership was moving in ways that we should have been moving. It was moving the way that other orgs used to move in, but we see very little of it. And so as much as there's to criticize, as much as there's like F them, like I would never, they were beefing with me like a while ago. I didn't get to see they're talking shit about me because I criticized their anti-Antifa stuff and the spread misinformation, right? Because Ghazi's woo, he's not chill. You know what I mean? He's out there. But the infrastructure and the way they're moving from being able to find ways to not only raise money to be able to get the food and stuff to be able to distribute, or the clothes, the blankets and stuff, and take the spaces a lot of nonprofits are like playing out, right? And take that and utilize that to bring people into their organization, right? And utilize that to help people as well. Now, the help they were doing, not all the work they were doing was bad. And you could see this with like ex-members who escaped. They talked about too, like some of the work was really legit, but it was to serve Ghazi's like effed up interests, right? It was to help Ghazi build a cult to himself, an identity cult. But the things that they were doing outside of the cult itself that was like building stuff was something that we should be doing. Because it's really dangerous to allow this realm to fall in the hands of like cultists, right? To fall in the hands of people who can't be trusted to do it at all. Because Ghazi can't be trusted. Like it's straight up, like not at all. Like he's literally in jail right now for kidnapping and for sodomy and some other stuff. He's not chill. Don't go join Black Hammer. Do not do that. But we should take the lessons and see how we're failing because of that, right? Because one of the things is I'm not defending Black Hammer at all. Because in fact, one of the things with this video was defending a Huru out of all things. I don't fuck with Huru either for different reasons. And African People's Socialist Party from being compared to Black Hammer. Because Black Hammer is definitely super toxic. But their tactics are legit tactics. They're things that, one, help people. Two, build the capacity for the community to be autonomous or to like stand for itself, right? To stand, to be able to support each other. And that's crucial that we learn from those. And I've been a big person that advocates learning from even the enemies, right? This is one of those situations. They are definitely an enemy. They are pro-Nazi, all sorts of messy crap. You know what I mean? I do want to get some of the more comments because I don't want to leave y'all hanging because I see y'all interacting. So sorry if I read out loud weird, but so I'm really young and haven't been on the organizing scene all that much. Is direct action and mutual aid not that common these days? I'm like, no, not really. Sorry, I know I'll read it slow out loud. I'm really in my head reader, so I'm a slow reader, period. But oh man, I'm losing subscribers right now because I'm a slow reader. I get it. All I know is from what I read. So if that's an area where we are lacking, that's really important to know. We are lacking right now, especially since COVID. Because what happened is with COVID, a lot of people retracted a lot of their support and a lot of energy. They didn't want to be around people. A lot of the leftists were like, oh, we got to worry about quarantining. While other people didn't have that option, right? But instead of building support networks, a lot of people were just pulled in. There are exceptions. Like Albuquerque goes super hard for mutual aid. When COVID got real, Albuquerque got moving. I'm going to give them mad props. Shout out to Celinda because she goes hard. Give them mad props for putting that work, and that's important. But there was a lot of lack that happened pre-COVID. I mean, during COVID, not pre-COVID, during COVID, where we had more mutual aid networks before. At least from what I've seen, you know what I mean, especially radical ones. Now, that's another thing that also we failed on as like radical leftists, revolutionaries, right? And that Black Hammer utilized perfectly. During the uprising, right, they used that to mobilize a lot of people. They built infrastructure to mobilize a lot of people. And when they did that, that was able to use the energy to move forward. I gotta be honest with you, my self-criticism, and this is a real self-criticism, is that I didn't take more leadership initiative. It's a problem, right? I'm an anarchist. I don't want to lead you motherfuckers. I want to just put in my 2 cents. I want to share my knowledge, what I've learned through my life and through my struggle, and I want to count on us to make decisions together. I don't want to be like, do this my way. But the weakness to that was that I had the crew I was with and I built with, and we were running up doing shit. But when people asked me to lead certain types of things, it's like, nah, man, I don't want no conspiracy case. You tripping, bro. Like, I'll be there. Just tell me where, I'll be there, but I ain't gonna lead y'all. Versus like places like Black Hammer. You excuse me for that burp, by the way. Places like Black Hammer, cannot talk right now. Places like Black Hammer utilized the uprising, utilized mutual aid, utilized outreach to be able to build their infrastructure up. And then, of course, they utilize their anti-Semitism to be able to build their funds up. Interesting, right? Interesting. Why does funds always come from white supremacy? Just thoughts. Like, more white supremacy you're gonna be, the more likely you are to have funds. Why does it look like I have a scar right here when I don't? Okay. Anyways. But yeah, post like once COVID hit, we needed to be able to support each other and we need to build these infrastructures. We also, the militancy they had, we need to have more of that. Yeah, M1 used to be part of a I was actually talking to my sister about this because she was part of a Huru. Actually, to be clear, he's part of African People's Socialist Party because Uhuru is actually a Uhuru Solidarity movement. Oh yeah, this is a comment I'm responding to, by the way. Let's give everybody their the flowers. Uhuru Solidarity Movement is an all-white organization that is accountable to the African People's Socialist Party. So it's like a little different. And I guess that's where a lot of the mix-up happens when like people like Hassan are saying that Ghazi is a Uhuru or whatever. It is Ghazi used to be a part of the African People's Socialist Party and got booted or left, depending on who says what. Ghazi left, African People's Socialist Party said they got booted. You know what I mean? I don't know which is true. I wasn't there. But also to be clear, Uhuru is not the math either. But they're not nearly as effed up as Black Hammer. So that'd be clear. Ghazi's a predator, bro. Like, there's nothing else to be said about Ghazi's a predator. He preys upon people that are vulnerable. A lot of the people inside his house, his headquarters, right, are people he picked up off the streets and coerced them to stay. You know what I mean? And it's effed up. I'm all for having a community house, a commune. I'm all for like bringing people in that are houseless all day long, but they should have as much of a voice as anybody else in the house, even the person who owns it, right? They should have as much of a voice as that, which is not how he moved. In fact, literally like consent was just not in their book at all. But I think we can still learn stuff from them, right? We can still learn like part of what people were looking for that they were able to recruit is because they were militant. And now I think a lot of it was an act. Like even with his pistol, I would have never been scared of Ghazi. Like I would be like, bro, I'm gonna tell you when that pistol's out my face, you about to get this, man. That's the type of energy I would have had for him. You know what I mean? But the thing is, the militancy, whether it was a facade or not, was part of what gave them a lot of power and brought a lot of energy in, right? As well as combined with the mutual aid, you start to see things that remind people of the Panthers. Now, this is a mockery of the Panthers. This is not nothing like the Panthers were going for, but also the Panthers weren't perfect either. They had plenty of flaws, and they did some F shit too. Not like this F shit, but I think one of the things I feel like in the left, especially right now, that we see is a lot of people just like talking about, oh, someone says I'm effed up, or look how effed up this movie is. What's up? What's up? I'll see you, Wally. I see you. What's up? We see a lot how effed up a movie is. We're doing a movie analysis. We really need to be talking about geopolitical realities, political realities, and when I'm talking about geopolitics, I think it was Mao. And yes, I'm an anarchist still, but I will quote some Mao, especially the one that UEP knew to quote a lot, which is warfare is just politics with bloodshed, and politics is just warfare without bloodshed. So what we got to realize and recognize is we're in a war right now. We're in a war for our people's survival. Like not just black folks, not just poor folks, not just working class, but literally we're the survival of all humanity, right? Because the way they're leading us is going to make us go extinct very, very soon. So it's even worse when we see, because like it made me sad doing this video when I was doing research behind Black Hammer to see all these like young folks that were dope that I wish I would have met them instead of them being Ghazi, right? That I saw so much potential, so much revolutionary potential to build in a real way. Like we're really down for the count, right? But instead they got led wrong by somebody who was extremely toxic. In fact, they have a whole on LibCom, they have a whole like breakdown of what happens. You know what I mean? They did a whole write-up to be like, yo, this effed up things happen. But the energy that they had, we need to not just like suck, but also build up, right? We can't just suck the energy up. We got to like build it up. You know what I mean? Now with Ghazi, he was feeding off of it. He was using it to build his identity, to build his brand, to build his identity cult. Versus we needed to build those young folks up to be revolutionaries, to like when people like step down, that they can step up. And we need to be there instead of the cults, right? And it's just sad because to see the cults doing better work than a lot of the leftists right now, hurts me. You know what I mean? I've been this way too long. It hurts me. But it's been the struggle, right? It's been the struggle to get those foundations up to build infrastructure to even think like that. Even with FTP, like we're trying to work on building an infrastructure project, but what do? We fight. We fight. We fight. We fight. We shut down prisons. We talk about it's cool. It's good fighting. It's fighting needs to happen, but it isn't the structures that we need to build. It is not the movement that we need to build that I have with FTP. FTP, I'm saying I'm co-signing FTP all day. You should definitely build with us, but it's a movement based around the problems we're dealing with. Right, we're dealing with environmentalism. We're dealing with prisons, right? So we're trying to stop prisons from being built, and we're trying to look out for the environment. That's what it is. It's based around a cause, but we need things built based around building infrastructure, which the cost is a part of it, like Black liberation, like queer liberation, like trying to bring up the bottom, the lumpen proletariat and the working class. Those things are real as fuck, and that's like that needs to be a part of the thing, but it needs to be built off of literally building community, building what we want to see as far as like an organization, because a lot of organizations, like I said, are built off causes, and causes aren't enough. We see the Panthers, like, yes, they were there to check the police, the original cop watch, but it became so much more than that, right? And we need those type of things. Now, because I'm an anarchist, I don't want a hierarchical version of that. I want an anti-hierarchical version of that. You know what I mean? And then what I also don't want is I don't want these cult people, these people that are in cults, taking all that energy from all these young people, using it, exploiting them, and then discarding them. You know what I'm saying? Which is exactly what happened with Black Hammer, and a lot, and not in a light way either, like in a very detrimental and dangerous way. Like he did serious harm to a lot of people. Like I said, there was charges of like forced sodomy and kidnapping, and it was wild. And it wasn't the first allegations of that. Like people, when they had their Hammer City, people almost died at Hammer City because of malnourishment and other things, right? And exploitation. But I should get back to these comments real quick because I know I'm just ranting a lot, but I just have a lot of thoughts on this. That's exactly it. Let's go through these comments real quick while y'all here. Try to give y'all flowers because I see y'all dropping knowledge and questions and all that. So I honestly have no idea what Black Hammer is. I don't know. Okay, sorry, I'm reading the last comment, so I'm ahead of myself. Let me slow down. Honestly, have no idea what Black Hammer is. I don't know how to how it got so much attention. Well, part of the reason it got so much attention is Ghazi was a big YouTuber, and then he joined African People's Socialist Party for a few years, and they got booted out. And after he got booted out, he started Black Hammer, but with his YouTube following on top of that, plus people who he had brought into Uhuru that had left with him. A lot of his fans and stuff came in. So that's how Black Hammer got really big. And then one of the things that really caught a lot of people's attention that was really effed up was his Anne Frank comments and anti-Semitism. So that's really a big part of what blew him up actually was the anti-Semitism. A lot of what raised that $100,000 to go to Hammer City was the anti-Semitism. And I don't use that lightly. I don't just throw that out there like when I say anti-Semitism, but bro, he was saying Anne Frank was a colonizer. It was fucking wild. He was saying out of pocket stuff. You know what I mean? Anyways, so that kind of blew him up. They made hella money off of it. That's why they're at the end, they started on the left and they ended up doing interviews with right wingers. You know what I mean? Alt-right. You know what I mean? I forget the dude's name, but you'll see it in the video. I have clips of it and stuff. Okay. Read more comments. Also, sanitary items like soap. Yeah. We need soap. We need toothpaste. We need socks. One of the things I used to, don't judge me, but I used to work for a nonprofit. I used to do 45th Street Clinic, and one of the big things that we really would give out a lot of was socks. Socks were crucial, especially if you're living on the streets. You know what I mean? But yeah, definitely soap, definitely shampoo, lotions. Lotions are crucial. Razors, condoms. People like having sex, want to protect themselves. A lot of people don't have the money to do it. So providing all that stuff, your needs. But also one of the things they were doing on top of providing those things that made them so alluring to a lot of people was they're providing a space of community. They're providing a space where people would be able to congregate and feel a part of something, which is powerful. And there's a lot of that not happening. And I've done some of that work myself, but I never had the infrastructure to maintain it and keep it going. I had a few friends, a few comrades that would, but we didn't have those infrastructure to keep it going like they did. That being said, one thing with Black Hammer, besides all the abuse, is they'd work people to death. Same thing with APSB. They just keep you working. But especially Black Hammer, like people be sleep deprived and everything. But that's not chill. Honestly, while it's not going to be easy, I feel that a simple enough list of guiding actions that with enough communication to the right people, we could get on that. Agreed. I mean, I think also finding people that we could actually want to build this, right? That are willing to build on the ground and step up would also be a big part, right? Because a lot of people don't want to do it. A lot of people are revolutionary ideologically, but not materially, like not when they move. There's very few of us, to be honest, and it ain't to shame people. I'm not shaming you for not. If you're not ready, you're not ready. If you're not ready, I don't want you there. You know what I mean? To be a buck because it's dangerous. You know what I mean? And puts all of us at risk. But we definitely have to get ready. that's the thing. Okay. We can go down these comments too, respond a little bit, but it's a pity they got taken over by a cult guy. Well, okay, I'm gonna read the rest of the comment before I respond to that. They could have been doing good things. Another founder of the party and ex-member said that they went from being a party for the liberation to a party for abuse. That's hella real. I'm glad I read the whole thing before I responded because I don't think they exclusively got just taken over though. I think, yeah, he became the primary thing, but he was the founder. And I think there are definitely some purging stuff. I don't want to go too deep into it because again, I want y'all to watch the video. I go deep. It's scripted. That's why it's taking so long. The edits are fire. There's even animation. It's not exclusively about Black Hammer. It's about the misinformation about Black Hammer versus ASPS, but I do go into it. So pretty in depth. But yeah. What is your opinion on NOI and all the work they do? I don't fuck with NOI. I like, you know what I mean? NOI is a right-wing organization. Very conservative. So there's this new definition of Black nationalism that I'm technically a part of, right? But the old definition of Black nationalism, I don't fuck with. So Black nationalism isn't how it was defined in the past with Black capitalism. You know what I mean? It was and very much so like the Garveyites, very much so the NOI. And then, but I fuck with Malcolm. Don't get twisted. Malcolm's a dude. I fuck with Malcolm. But, you know, also that's the other end of it is like the NOI, they killed Malcolm, bro. Like, and for somebody who's lumping proletariat, killing Malcolm, that's the sin that cannot be forgiven, bro. Like, that, you know what I mean? That was bad. That was, dude, you can't just kill Malcolm and just like, I'm going to be co-signing. So I don't really fuck with NOI. I've had some shared space with NOI. I don't like beef or anything, but it's not going to be, it's not my jam. I identify as an anarcho black, a black anarcho intercommunalist, not just like, you know, I'm not with like the NOI or anything like that. I'm not a Black nationalist, Black intercommunalist. And I know people like call Black Panthers Black nationalists, but they were not Black nationalists. Literally, they call Black nationalists pork chop nationalists. Like, they weren't Black nationalists, bro. They were intercommunalists. I just gotta be a buck with that. It's like a misinformation people be saying. But I know people are redefining it as Black nationalists of the nation of Black people, different people, different nations, as in like trying to reassign it to like how the indigenous will say it a lot. And that's valid. But I just don't really feel it because I think there's a lot of history of Black nationalism, meaning Black capitalism. You know, meaning, and NOI is one of those examples. In some cities like Newark, New Jersey, they make giving food to the homeless without a permit illegal. Yeah, they do that in Seattle too. They do in a lot of cities, actually. They make it illegal to give out food to the houseless. I know people who have been fucked with for giving out food. I haven't, but also the cops know in my city that to harass me is to ask for smoke because I'm beefing. Like, I'm not going to back down. I'm going to be disrespectful. I'm going to be, you know what I mean? And if it really go down, it might go down. You know what I mean? And the cops know about me, so they know when to pick fights with me like that. They're not going to really fuck with me and pay shit like that because I'm be on that ass. All right, so next. I don't know if you heard of him, but kind of sound like Jafari, who made the chapter of Black Lives Matter called 757 BLM. I've heard of in Vancouver Beach. I've heard of 757 BLM. I don't know anything about it though. He ended up partnering with Proud Boys and outed as an abuser. Believe it. Talking about people who partnered with Proud Boys. Ghazi did that too. Ghazi was partnering with Proud Boys and all sorts of shit. You know what I mean? So, yeah, that was a similar thing. I don't know what it is with these people swerving right and becoming fascist, but it's wild. I guess anybody who tries to build like cults and stuff like that are going to be right leaning off top. Like, I don't want no cult. You know what I mean? I don't want no cult unless it's a revolver. I don't want no cult. You know what I mean? You want to give me a cult revolver? Then we're talking about different conversation. But you know, those things cults aren't beneficial to revolution, but they are beneficial for reactionary movements. You know what I mean? And that's what they became, as a reactionary movement. Rome from RBM to tour for the poor sounds like a good idea. I don't know anything about it. I don't know about Rome. I have my issue with RBM. Like, I like their shit, but I stopped watching them because they were trying to call me like a misinformation agent because I told them Kashama so wanted shit because she's shit. Like, bro, I like, you can find videos of me in the same space, sharing space with Kashama Swan, the same press releases and shit. I'm telling you, she co-op shit. But people don't want to hear me. And I don't expect them to just believe me. But I would wish people would just ask. And so yeah, I've had some tensions specifically. I think it was it Rome? I think it was Rome. No, it wasn't Rome. It's the other cat. Never mind. It wasn't Rome. I actually wanted to chop it up with Rome because I think they'd be chill. But yeah, I mean, I want to vote with RBN, but you know what I mean? They ain't open to hear other perspectives that aren't their own. You know what I mean? And just kind of sucks. I mean, if any of y'all see me, I want to talk. I'm putting it out there, RBN. If y'all see this, I want to talk because I think y'all misunderstand some things, especially believing some of these heroes, these politicians, to be heroes when they're not. You know what I mean? And it's a mistake because people pose for these cameras and it looks like they're doing real work. When in real life, people like Kashama Sawant, for example, I don't want to tangent a little bit, but people like Kashama Sawant show up after the work is done, sign on, get a photo took, and push on. And that's why a lot of people, like, for example, in Seattle, don't like her because they're like, you don't do work. You take credit and use it to further your political career. Also, she was a part of ISO, and ISO has a really bad reputation. It's like a lot of DSA does, just like a lot of what's the other one? The PLS or whatever, or something like that. So they got a lot of bad reputations because a lot of the big socialist organizations don't, you know what I mean, don't have good reputations. You know what I mean? A lot of academic, the ones that are academic based, you know. So yeah, no, Kashama Swan personally like done dirty shit to me, so I'm never gonna be like, oh, they cool. But you know, that's a tangent. But yeah, hopefully, I would love to talk to Rome from RBN about like their ideas about the tour and stuff. I don't know much about that because again, I kind of tuned out when they started trying to call me a misinformation agent for telling the truth about Kashama. Like, I was just like, yeah, I gotta go. But you know, I'm not stressed on it. Okay. Have y'all considered an organizing conference? Yes. We actually, Fight Times Prison used to do an abolitionist conference every year. It just, when COVID happened, we kind of stopped. But I'm about maybe getting back to doing it, but we need to get the budget up and stuff like that because it's not cheap. We do it for cheaper than any other organization, and it still wasn't cheap. We spend like 10 bands, which other organizations will spend like 50 bands on a weekend when we spend it for like 10. 50 bands minimum for like less people than we were hosting. You know what I mean? But okay, let me keep reading. like a place for revolutionaries to come together and start on some legit ass planning for how to reach people. Uh, yeah, I mean, yes, there have been talks of like a Black anarchist convergence or a POC anarchist convergence. There have been a couple different things where those conferences would be like crucial, but it's hard to get like, like anarchists are like cats. It's like herding cats. Yeah, I mean, it'd be real. We'd be bad about that. You know what I mean? Including myself. I'm not lying. I'm like herding cat too. They're not like listening. I'm definitely a cat. I love dogs and I don't like house cats that much, but I don't say I don't like them at all because sometimes I do, but I myself am like a cat. Give me a listen is like, what I mean? You have to convince me. It's not easy. So I get it. And a lot of anarchists are like that. Being critical thinkers will make you like that a lot. Yes, it's right now it's just for the Patreons, but we are gonna but if you can't afford to become a Patreon, asking about Discord server, then go ahead and email me, Overthrow Media. Let me know what's going on as far as let me know what's going on as far as like economically, and I'll like plug you in. Only gonna be like 100 people like that though. So if you really can't afford like even $2 a month, which will get you access through Patreon, then email me. Because if you really fuck with me like that, I'm gonna fuck with you even if you don't got the money, because I get it. You know what I mean? I don't got the money. I can afford to be my own Patreon. To be real with you. But yeah, no, but yeah, so email me, overthrowmedia@gmail. But only if you consistently fuck. I'm gonna tell you gotta be consistently fucking with me, because I'm gonna test you. I'm gonna ask you some questions, and if you ain't fuck with me, then you can become a Patreon or just chill. You know what I mean? But there's a Discord out there, yes, for sure. I got ouch, fair. Okay, so yeah, I mean, I'm definitely for us having conferences and coming together to build. But I think we also need to build around building all around infrastructure, infrastructure projects. That means having housing. For me, my interest would be having housing for people getting out of prison or just struggling with houselessness, so they can be safe, and be able to live. I also feel like we need to be out there tabling and building with the community and building networks and rebuilding community too, because COVID effed stuff up, man. People don't communicate and talk like that no more. I think we need to have the militant stance to it too. Like, we need to move a little bit like soldiers. Not like soldiers as we follow directions easily, but soldiers is like we got that militancy and we're down to like fight for that revolution. You know what I mean? For real, for real. Not advocating violence, just saying this, having the energy. You know what I mean? I will never violate TOS. I promise. I promise you to. But yeah, and food programs as well as growing food, getting properties. But here's the thing: is a lot of times it's just hard to get started for the people at the front lines. You know what I mean, or for people that aren't like conceding in ways that are going to damage what you're building. I think that's one of the big problems, and it's really hard to figure out how to get over that. Besides like building with people you already fuck with, but then at this point, I think a lot of people are so divided that you need to really build new networks. Okay, God. Since COVID is still happening, any gathering conference really has to have a good COVID safety with masks. Exactly. Attendance through the internet. Yeah, I mean, okay, I'll get to why that's a problem. Air filtration, etc. The left is doing bad with disability accessibility. The left is doing bad with everything, bro. Like everything. Disability justice, actual good race analysis, because they use liberals' identity politics to be able to like figure out what they're supposed to be, which is just flawed. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things the left is just not doing right. You know what I mean? It's just not. There's some people on the left that are doing fire stuff. Like I said, New Mexico, Celinda, all the organizers down there are doing mad work. I'm not trying to sleep on people who are, but overall through the country, there's not a lot of that. You know what I mean? Not that energy. But here's the thing is, with the conference, I see what your point is, and that's real. That's why we haven't had the convergence in a couple of years. But also, like, when it comes to mutual aid and stuff, that can't be the justification, because when we're going through crisis is when mutual aid networks are needed the most. because I wish we were out handing out masks. I wish we were handing out food. I wish we were doing domestic violence interventions because I knew from day one when COVID happened and there was quarantines, domestic violence was going to go through the roof. It was a given. You know what I mean? People are not doing good mental health wise, and then they're trapped in together with people who might have already been abusive, and if they weren't, a lot of people became abusive. You know what I mean? Shit, I got attacked for like literally holding someone accountable for DV, where a dude tried to stab me and he broke a stick over my head. That literally happened. That was like one of my former roommates. But we got to build those infrastructure to move. And I think as far as like we'll see what happens in the summer, because I think there's more opportunity in the summer to build or have a conference, right? Because then we could do more stuff outside and masked, which then reduces the COVID likelihood very slim. One thing I'll also point out is being outside about it and masked up. When the uprising was happening, the people least likely to catch COVID were the activists, bro. No cap, because everybody was masked and outside. Like, people weren't catching COVID from protesting like that. You know what I mean? And so if we move in that same way, we're like, I don't know, went to a campsite, we could do it. But I think as far as like digitally, the problem is security. There's conversations that I can't even have with you guys because TOS, because of it being recorded. Like, we can't just do stuff digitally like that in the same way that we need to move. And so I think in-person conferences is the only way to do those type of things and those type of conversations. And not even saying this because it's illegal, but because it'll compromise the movement, right? Say if you are planning an action and you do it over digitally, or you're planning some long-term campaign, anything you do digitally is compromised now. Even if it's legal, it doesn't matter, because, like, for example, some of the stuff we do as FTP, we don't do digitally. It's all legal. It's all 100% legal. We're not breaking laws of FTP. I'm not gonna speak about other stuff I've done, but FTP, we're not breaking laws. But if we were to have those conversations over digital platforms, some of them would compromise what we're doing, and then might get the state informed on some of the tactics we're about to use, and they'd be able to plan and maneuver for it. And we want to shut down as many prisons. Let's see. Boom. The left needs to be doing better. Yes, because obviously fascism doesn't wait for us to be doing better. Exactly. And that's the thing, is we can't do it because we like feel some way about some things. Like, that's another thing that I've had personally, like, just a little off topic for Black Hammer. I mean, been off topic, but one thing that I like realize is people who do it because they have like some urge or some pull, or they have passion for it. Those people are in and out. They're in and out. I didn't become a revolutionary, radical organized because I wanted to be cool, not because I wanted to be the cool activist person. I wanted to wear like what's it called? What are those hats the pants used to wear? I forget what they're called. Oh my god, those little hats, or like black leather outfits. You know what I mean? That's not why I did that. That's not why I became a revolutionary in the first place. I became an organizer in the first place. It's because my community is thrown behind these bars. My community is being destroyed by this system. So I want that to stop. I want us to be able to prosper and be like free, you know, and liberated. Beret, yes, a beret. Oh my god, I cannot remember that for nothing. Yeah, man. I mean, no berets for me. Just give me a hoodie. Let's go. Let's go. Hell yeah. Hello all. Oh yeah, Miss Danger. Been a minute, Miss Danger. Hey. Everything, Brett. Yeah, I got it, David. That's my old like boss in the fucking comments watching it. I got it, David. I got it. All right. Heard it. I said it. Okay. Little outfit. Yeah, I mean, I need a big outfit. Look, I need the hoodie, man. I'm big, bro. What you mean? Any advice for the youngins? Okay. Keep your militancy. Be careful what elders you trust. Not all of them are chill. In fact, most of them aren't. Most of the chill elders been gone. They've been incarcerated. They've been killed. They've been like just had to pull out to be able to stay living and went back in family. Be careful who you trust. Be careful who you give your elders, and test them like you test anybody else. Don't just accept them as an elder because they've been around a long time. Because a lot of these people, there's a lot of sellouts. There's a lot of people who got bad intentions. A lot of people trying to build cults. Build with people you can trust with if you can. If people got friends that are on the same tip, build with them and judge by actions. What do people do? Like, right now, what do they, not the game they spit, what do they do, including how do they treat you, how they treat people around them? Do they use people? Do they abuse people? Don't trust them. But do they put people's interests ahead of their own? Okay, then maybe give them a little more chances, a little more, more put the other people's interests in front of their own. The more you should like give them a little bit more to believe in. I mean, a little more believe in, a little more trust. You know what I mean? You can believe in them a little bit more. But don't just judge by actions, right? Just by how they move, you know, because people talk a lot. Good game all the time. Like, you know what I mean? Maybe it's some prison knowledge too, because I learned this in prison, but people talk a good game. But when it comes to actual actions, we're going to tell you if you can trust or mess with them, you know? And that's crucial. All right. Yeah, I mean, like I said, test everybody. Don't just take their word for it. Yeah. And if they are trying to get you to cut ties with your family and stuff, that's a no-go. That's a no-go. If they're trying to get you to cut ties with people that you actually trust and know and have history with, that's a no-go. Don't trust them. They're not trustworthy, you know. And make moves, make mistakes, learn from them, and try not to go to jail. That's what I got. Who want to start some of this activity? Oh, you always hit me, man. For a lot of stuff we got to talk in person, but you know, I'm down to build with you. But like, yo, I'm not better than none of y'all. Even y'all fans to the fan level. I know some of y'all just fuck with me, so I'm not saying y'all all fans. But if you're just fans, I'll build with you. You know what I mean? We can't become lovers because you know parasocial relationships, but we can become comrades. Bet, you know what I mean? So that's that's what it is. But okay. Hello Frog. Lots of things are bad for me right now. Oh shoot, my bad. I didn't realize you're talking. My bad. I didn't even put that out there. Oh shoot, I forgot to plug in my PC. Hold on, y'all. It's right here. It's about to die. If I don't plug it in. 1 second, y'all. I'm supposed to be going to have a hookup right now, and they canceled on me while I was streaming. So you know, I'm here with y'all. Okay. So right now I'm just like recapping about revolution, I guess, over like and how to move of like how we need to build infrastructure and like answering questions. But originally it was talking about Black Hammer. Sorry, pardon me. And the things they did right, despite their effed off cult that you should not join or support in any way. But they did things right. The left is failing on right now, like direct actions, like mutual aid, and like feeding folks, stuff like that. And so we need to be able to take that space and we need to build as a revolutionary movement from a space of being able to mutual aid, militancy, be able to supply food, masks, clothing, whatever, and we need to build that. That's kind of what we started talking about. And then we need to be there because if we don't, then these cults like are going to take so much energy. Like a lot of young folks win the Black Hammer that we should have been there for. You know what I mean? We should have been there as leftists, as militants. So that's kind of how it got started going down this direction. And now I've just been like respond to like comments. So that's where we're at. Is your take on politicians that they are universally bad, even if they say radical stuff? Yes, it is, but I'll expand upon that. For example, one in my country was floating the idea of abolishing the Home Office, UK version of ICE. I'm not from Europe. I'm not from UK. I won't speak to that. I have very big doubts that they're any better than U.S. politicians. Specifically speaking of a U.S.-centric statement, I've know there's been politicians that might have been decent that are south of the border, but I don't know enough about them to be able to speak to that. You know what I mean? But in the U.S., none of them are any good. I don't really believe it. Not AOC, none of them. I'm buying. Not Bernie, none of them. None of them are cool. Bernie supported Super Predator bill. By the way, he's not our friend. But yeah, I definitely believe that politicians are inherently here to serve as PR agents for the elite, for the corporations, for the rich, for the wealthy, for the powerful. They're not here to serve as representation for us, but for them. You know what I mean? To us. Like they speak to us. They don't speak to the rich. They don't speak to the powerful. They speak to us for the rich. If that makes sense. That's my analysis around politicians. And so there's never a good one because they're really just playing mediator between us and the rich for the rich's benefit, for the powerful's benefit. They're not ever advocating for us. They're advocating for them to us, if that makes sense. And they're trying to frame it as if they're advocating for us, but they're advocating to us, if that makes sense. Does that make sense to y'all? You know what I mean? So politicians are never on our side. They ain't no go. They ain't no go. They ain't no good. Okay. Because the SCH again. If we were talking about cults, then don't forget that they're mostly about If we are talking about cults, then don't forget that they are mostly about taking your money while giving you an impression that they're helping you, but they're not. Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. Here's the thing. A lot of the interviews and stuff I saw with Black Hammer, right? The ex, not Black Hammer, but the ex members that had left and escaped. A lot of what they had said, and you might have missed this earlier, but that they were doing really good work. And if they didn't have Ghazi, they would have been able to get Ghazi out. It would have been a dope organization. And I can believe that. I can believe that a lot of them have very good intentions. They got used up by Ghazi, and that's hella real. That's hella fucking real. I was trying to cuss because I want to get demonetized. But you know, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. Like that, like you said, that's exactly his intent was to take and use. Like he was taking their social security numbers and everything, so we have all this collateral over him. And that's the thing. That's what cults. I'm not saying build a cult. I think we need to build infrastructure that the cult utilizes to be able to use recruitment. That's stuff that they utilize, the tabling, the shows, the conversations, the mutual aid. We need to be doing that, but for the revolution to fight against imperialism, but also to fight against cults coming in to take that space. Because if we are the ones building that up, then we will be able to direct that towards revolution and to supporting each other, right? Because the love of the people is what defines a revolutionary. And when I say that, for me, when I mean the people, I don't just mean like every single person in the country. I mean the love of proletariat. I mean people who might not even fuck with me, to be honest with you. I mean, I'm lump proletariat, but not every lump proletariat person is gonna fuck with me. I'm not thoroughbred. Like some motherfuckers gonna fuck with gangsters. You know what I mean? I'm not a gangster. You know what I mean? I'm not like that. I'm a street nigga, but you know, it is what it is. Shoot, I'm not on the main one, so if it cuts me off at an hour, it's because I'm using, for some reason, they got booted out of the original one we usually stream through, so now I'm using the regular just through my email. So that's why there's a little thing up. That's why this thing is up. Oh, that thing's up there. But okay, hold on. Let me get back to some of the comments though. Claire Daly went on Danny Hepfong's and Sabby Sab's show. I haven't had time to watch yet. Okay. Maybe I'm missing the context. If it's some of the people in Black Hammer, probably just I'm not good with the names yet. All right. Yeah, for me, it's survival on. Yeah, for me, it's survival on and off, or on and off the street for a bit. But seriously, given how helpful the internet, like no joke, download wiki with the selection decompression program. I don't know what the decompression program is. I think you're talking to somebody else. My bad. I didn't mean to. See, you can tell I don't read all these before I bring them up. So I don't get something where you're all talking to each other and I'm just like responding to it. Let's see. Hopefully this is not it. The scary thing about cults is that they take advantage of what are basically mechanical aspects of human psyche. Even people who know better can get sucked in. I don't know. I have to disagree with you on that. I think the thing with cults is there are cult vulnerable people and people who aren't cult vulnerable. Like I'm very much not a cult vulnerable person. Like it's not gonna happen. I'm never gonna get pulled into a cult. Like it just it's not because I'm smarter than people or anything like that. It's because I was a scapegoat for a narcissist. So red flags come flying at me. Like it's like when there's red flag, there's like waving it loud and clear. You know what I mean? So I those things I'm not really vulnerable to that. Any of the things that people use for cult recruitment or cult recruitments. My God, anything that's used for cult recruitment sets off red flags to me a lot of times. A lot of the things like the love bombing and shit. If you start love bombing me, I don't really know you like that. I automatically don't trust you. Like I automatically am like red flag, don't trust, not gonna bring them in, not gonna be involved with them, not bring them into anything, not doing it. You know, you don't know me like that to be love bombing me. You know what I mean? So I think there are people that are cult vulnerable and people that aren't. Now, don't get it wrong. It's like not saying it's about intelligence at all. It's just about like different experiences. I think I can't even say it's about trauma because some traumatized people fall into it. But like for me, my trauma has made very clear that I'm not going to fall for that shit. But again, like, a lot of the things that cults do are the same thing narcissists do in their family structures. So I'm going to see that shit loud and clear because of my upbringing, right? But yeah, like I said, they're definitely cult vulnerable people, not cult vulnerable people. People who believe things a little too easily sometimes can be very cult vulnerable. Yeah. But yeah, it's real. They're real dangerous. And I think the thing is, what we can do, like I said, is build that same infrastructure, but for good reasons, right? For building up our people, for the love of the people, for expanding infrastructure. And if we do that, then at that point, we will be able to bring people into movements that are real. So they don't get sucked into like fake revolutionary movements, cults with revolutionary aesthetics. Also, another thing that's really damaging about the thing like Black Hammer is it makes us look as if we are wilding and nuts. There's plenty of non-political cults, but for some reason we look like we wilding as radicals because people look at these cults and use it as a scapegoat, or not a scapegoat, but use it to like paint all of us that way that are like radical. And most of us are not at all like that. In fact, we are less like that than the average liberal is. Liberals are way, way more cult like than most revolutionaries and radicals. In fact, if anything, this common with radicals and revolutionaries is we stubborn ass people that don't trust easily. Like it's probably one of our downfalls, but we're the same reason that makes us stubborn, and don't trust easily, is the same thing that makes us revolutionaries, though. So it's like kind of like a dual-sided, double-edged sword, a dual-sided sword. But called a double-edged sword, dual-sided sword. What am I talking about? Do I have any theories as to why these groups end up working with the white supremacists? Because white supremacist politics and right-wing politics are more conducive to building cults than actual left. I hate the word leftist. I don't really believe in leftism and right the political spectrum. Really, I think it's just it's Eurocentric. But for this conversation, the leftist ideals don't work good for building cults, and so to be able to maintain a cult, usually you have to lean right. Now, there's a cults like a Huru and stuff like that, APSP. I definitely would say are cults for sure, but are based in a leftist political frame. RCP as well, the Bobby Vakinites. But even within those, they're not nearly as damaging, and they don't have nearly as much collateral to keep membership, right? So people in like a Hulu and APSP have left a million times, right? They don't have the same degree of coercion to be able to maintain as other cults that are more right-leaning, like Black Hammer. Like as you can see, they would use any tactic whatsoever in Black Hammer, including weapons and kidnapping to keep you as members. You know what I mean? And so yeah, that's the thing. But I think that's why I work with white supremacists specifically, because it's easier to have right-wing politics and be a cult than it is to have left-wing politics and be a cult. Yeah. Let's see, where was I? Wait, where'd that go? Okay, here we go. Boom. Lots of political tactics these days are also narcissism writ large. So I don't understand what the writ large means. Um, a lot of political tactics these days are also narcissistic, as I'm to read it as. I would disagree. I mean, actually, maybe it depends on what you mean. Actually, can you clarify? I want to respond to that, but I'm not sure. Radical tactics, not so much. Liberal tactics, yes, sorry. Like, let me be an identity you can link onto. But as a pushback, my one of my friends or comrades, let me not say friends, we ain't close like that, but we cool. You know what I mean? My comrade's a loss. Used to do rap out here, and we'll talk about a lot about these identities. Same thing with Savage Fam, about not having these people be identities based off our identity, which I understand where they're coming from, but disagree with. I think identities are important because people attach to identities. I just think we need to not make it a hierarchy, if that makes sense. Like, the identities need to be there, but not the hierarchy. Because the hierarchy is where we get into problems, where these identities will then take over movements. They will misdirect people. Yeah, stuff like that. You know what I mean? And that will lead us down dark paths. Cults are often slow built. I grew up with a cult. I grew up with the cult. Now understanding what I was taught was harmful. It's still hard to see it at times when you don't want to see it. Yeah, it's real. Sorry again, y'all. So I'm gonna read out loud. Kind of weird. ADHD. Agreed. Educating oneself about narcissism patterns would help one avoid cults. Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's the thing is like cults are based off of narcissism. The leader is a narcissist. A leader is a narcissist utilizing narcissistic tactics to be able to gain control over other people, right? So instead of the narcissist, the cult leader, just like a narcissist, doesn't see you as a person, but sees you as an extension of themselves. That's why they feel like they can just take your autonomy away because you're an extension of them. That's why like the Jim Jones self-deleted their whole crew because they're an extension of that person, and he's about to fall. So it's better they all fall with them. That's type of shit. You know what I mean? Which luckily, Ghazi did not lead the people, at least at this point, doing a mass self-delete. But that could happen. Anybody who's a Black Hammer that may see this, leave now. If he gets out, it's going to be harder to leave, and it's going to be way more dangerous than it was before. So leave now. I'm just going to say that. If you want to build revolution, come holla at me. Overthrow Media in a Gmail. Holla at me. For real. I ain't just talking. You can look into me. Look at my past. So, okay. Pardon me. I'm having burps right now. Yeah, exactly. The way liberals will justify anything the Democrats do, but call themselves progressive is hilarious. I mean, see, progressive just means moderate now. Let's just be real about it. Progressive means moderate. They're not like what does progressive mean? It's just moderate. They don't want to take a side. They just want to say, oh, but if it gets a little bit better bit by bit, then it'll be okay. Churches are deeply hierarchical. I agree. Yeah. Churches are cults. I'm gonna say straight up. With a cult, like all it was is the original foundations of a religion. And then once it becomes codified and becomes legitimized, then you got a religion. Now there's cults that aren't religious in that way, like Ghazi's, but they still make somebody into like a Christ figure. You know what I mean? We see that with the Huru and Amali. You know what I mean? Amali's made into like this Christ figure, and like, bro. Also, I was watching this like that when I'm editing. I watched this documentary, bro, about with Amali, bro. Taking so much credit for everybody else's work, bro. He's like, I am Amali and the African People's Socialist Party are the carrying on of the movement of the 60s, of all these other movements like the Black Panthers. Like, no, you're not, though. You're not. You're not even like, you don't have the same politics as them even. So what do you mean? I mean, don't get it wrong. I will say this: APSP has some very good politics in some ways. Like its analysis of the U.S. is on freaking point, but in other ways, well, no. You know what I mean? Like, also doesn't like talk about the vanguard, but like not talking about the lump proletariat because dude's not lump proletariat, so he couldn't be a leader if the lump proletariat is the vanguard because he's just ex-vet. But anyways, okay. Reply to national politics means a bigger scale. The centrist. Okay, yeah, sorry. All right, bet. Yeah, maybe I should know the word. In the 1800s, progressive meant imperialist. Oh, not surprising. Who was civilizing the savages of what is now the third world? Oh, oh yeah, that's real. I mean, that makes sense. I appreciate it. Appreciate it. Oh, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense, though. I'll be real, because that's exactly how it plays out right now. Like, you know what I mean? Progressive would have, like, I'm the savage, though. I'm a savage. Savage fam is savages too, apparently. You know what I mean? Well, I mean, savage fam, so I mean, it is what it is. But, you know, like, bro, like, I'm the savage. Like, you know what I mean? Jadai is the savage. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers out here making moves of the savages, right? And they're trying to civilize us. But civilization is what is destroying the world. What you mean? The civilizations that we have are destroying it, man. So your idea of civilization has never been civil. Never been civil. Centrist. Okay, well, let me. Centrist and farther right, or however you want to say it, gaslight constituents and such. Yeah, maybe I don't know if I might miss something there. Sorry, touch the screen. Wait, what's this? I hope Jesus is able to lead people out of the cult aspect and into more giving faith. I mean, Christianity is a cult, bro. Like a giant cult. I'm not against scripture, to be clear. I'm not against all of it. I'm not anti-Bible, but Christianity ain't pro-Bible. I'm gonna just leave that there. You should watch the conversation I had with Little Bill if you want to see more about that. It's not the topic we're on, but you know, whoo. I mean, I don't think Jesus is leading anybody. Also, just for a little information, the person they called Jesus would have been Yeshua at the time. So like he wouldn't have ever gone by that name. And there's a lot of imperialists rhetoric around that name. I mean, again, you should check out the conversation I had with Little Bill on Dialectic a while back. I'll be great for that. You can check it through the lives. Okay. I'm just like stumbling on my words right now. Oh shit. Super sticker. Thank you. Thank you, SC. Oh. Thank you. Always grateful. Moderate fascism. That's America for you. Okay, so I'm just going to be real too. America is and always has been a right-wing nation, far right nation, and liberals are right-wing. Just gonna say that liberals are right-wing, progressives are right-wingers. Like Bernie at his most left was only a centrist. At his most left, at the most left he ever was only a centrist. I'm just gonna say that. Understand that. He was never a leftist. Never. Like, and what we consider centrists right now aren't even center right. Leftists, liberals, progressives aren't even center right. They're right. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But I think one of the things that our spectrum is still thrown off by the fact that we're a right-wing nation and we don't recognize that we are. Right? The U.S. is a right-wing nation. That's why if you ever track who we support in coups and shit, we always support the fascists. Because we are a right-wing nation. We're a far-right nation. But anyways, I know it's really off topic. It's ranting now, but also this time I'm just like chopping up with y'all until we done, because I might touch on a little bit more, but I think I covered most of what I had to say. Do you think the difference between anarchists and MLs is deep held values or just strategies? It's high school. That's really what it feels like, man. It feels like high school. I think the difference is really click more than anything. Now, have MLs done fucked up shit? Yes. You know what I mean? That's real. I'm sure there's anarchists that fucked up shit too, but it's hard to track because anarchists ain't one ideology. You know what I mean? Like anarchists are a shit ton of ideologies. And so when we see past MLs that did us dirty as like anarchists and stuff, we really need to think about like, does that really reflect MLs or does that reflect those people at that time in history? We should always be skeptical and we should watch for behaviors, right? So like I said, I don't fuck with really. I mean, I will organize and build with anybody for the most part, as long as we are building in the same direction at that time. But I don't trust DSA. I don't trust PSL or any of the big socialist organizations. And I know a lot of people will recommend joining them, but I won't because I've never had good experiences with them. But the problem is a lot of the national organizations like that, the big ones, tend to not be very good. They tend to be problematic. They tend to do a lot of co-opting, be full of like academics, and not actually do the work that they say they're doing. Now, do they do no work? No, I'm not saying that. But they don't do the most crucial work ever. I've never seen that happen. Where the most crucial work is usually done by independent organizations on the ground. And then people come and take credit for those. That's usually what it is. People who are invested in their community are usually the ones that do all the work. And that's just being real. These big social organizations and all that don't. But again, it's just the thing of these big ass organizations. You know what I mean? Yeah, the Panthers were dope. The Black Liberation Army were dope, but they were exceptions to the rule. You know what I mean? And I don't know. I'm just big on judging people by their actions, not their rhetoric. Because people are going to have all this different rhetoric, and all these things that they're going to say is going to make a big difference. And how they're going to do, if you follow them, they're going to lead you to the revolution. But if their actions don't follow that, if they're just talking about it, they're just throwing theories and ideas out there, then it don't mean much, you know? And that's what I usually run with the big orgs. It's a lot of talk. Same thing with a lot of YouTube. And I'm not seeing any people I build with, not any specific people, but a lot of YouTubers that are just talk. Especially the people like this, especially debate bros. Oh my God, they're the worst. Pardon me. Do you think the difference between anarchists and MLs is deep held values? Oh, yeah. How did I click the same one twice? My bad, y'all. I just want to put this up here real quick. Yeah. Brian South Square on, of course. In this context, in my second meant that I was correcting the typo. Oh, okay, yeah, thank you. Well, let me make sure I missed something though. Okay, yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I lost it. Sorry, I got ADHD, so I lost the context of it. But I appreciate you. All right. Ooh. I think that an important difference between a cult and a religion is to not be a cult. There needs to be a lot of room for interpretation and debate. When interpretation or question is shut down, it's a cult. Yeah, but religions don't have a lot of room for debate either. That's why I become different religions. That's why like the Catholics are the Catholics, the Protestants are the Protestants, right? I think cults and religions are going to go hand in hand because there really isn't room for debate until stuff starts severing. And then a lot of times the debate will be possible to maintain the infrastructure because there's so much money riding on it. But I think essentially they're still just the same thing, in my opinion. I might be wrong. I don't know everything by any means, but I mean, it's kind of my understanding of it personally. A lot of differences between MLs and anarcho-communists is semantic. Yeah. Also a lot of them. I think the hierarchy is big. I think sometimes like the party line stuff, like I don't get down with party lines. Party lines is pushing towards cult shit to me. It's not having party lines isn't cult, but it pushes towards it. You know what I mean? And I get, you know what I mean? I'd rather have party like than party lines that must be strictly adhered to. I'd rather have like party intentions like our intentions are to do this and this, so we have room for more critique and criticism. Because I think one thing I've learned over time is that all of us are horribly flawed. All of us, me, you, everybody else, right? And that the only way we're actually accountable, and make sure that we're on point, is by us pushing back on each other. You know what I mean? And having those interactions and those like mini conflicts. That's also the problem with romanticization. You know, whether you're romanticizing the lumpen proletariat, or you're romanticizing black women, or you're romanticizing brown men or black men, or it doesn't matter what it is. Romanticization is bad. But I think that's I lost my train of thought. My bad. But yeah, I had a point. I lost it. My fault. Again, ADHD. That's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. Oops. Clearly ADHD. DSA has been trashed since the 70s. I remember when EJ was posting about that on Twitter a few years ago before he deleted his account. I mean, yeah, a lot of the big social organizations have been trash. ISO was trash. FSP was trash. DSA has been heard to be trash. PLS I've heard to be trash from multiple people. All the underground organizers like boo. Like it's like a pattern. Let's see what they're saying. At the end of the day, I will always oppose the state. If person is opposing the state, I don't understand what that last part was. Sorry, y'all. Sorry, Miss Danger. I feel like it might have you might have accidentally sent it before it was finished being. I mean, they put you on blast like that. Let's see. Was trying to say that unscrupulous politicians deliberately gaslight golden child, scapegoat, etc. Yeah. Okay, so here's what I point out the FD. I was talking to him the other day, and I was like, texting him the other day, and I was like, look, the cult, the lawyer, the preacher, the politician are all on the same lane. They all have the same energy. They're all the same archetype of person. It's kind of wild. Yeah. That's why I never be a good lawyer, right? I don't have those type of energy. I can argue like a motherfucker, but not like a lawyer. No, you're making sense. Once hierarchy kicks in, it's hard to hold people in a group accountable. Exactly. Especially leaders. You pretty much have to have like an insurrection inside the organization to get the leaders to be held accountable, especially when they're doing foul shit. And like, oh man, it's wild. I'm just telling you, years of this shit as an organizer. I'm telling you, man, it's the same story every time. Ex-Catholic myself, definitely still a lot of far right WASP adjacent stuff with some of them. They're just less loud about it, y'all. They waspy as hell for sure. Might get stung. Are there any revolutionaries that don't have ADHD? This is half of the joke, but also everyone I run into has some sort of ADHD or seems to have ADHD. Sorry. I think most people have ADHD. One thing they're saying about ADHD is that it actually might go back to hunter and gatherer societies, so it might actually not be disadvantageous just because we live in a society that's so like structured in these specific ways that it becomes a problem. But I think if anything, it's probably advantageous in a lot of ways as revolutionary, at least especially on the ground. But it's not necessarily advantageous when you're trying to do like digital stuff. Like I'm bad at digital shit. Like people don't know. Like y'all see me think I'm good at digital stuff. No, I'm bad, bro. Like people know. Like getting me on a Zoom meetings, hell. Like if you want to get in a person meeting, I'm there. Let's throw some food on, let's barbecue and eat and talk some strategy. But when it comes to like Zoom meetings and all other digital stuff, I'm not. But then I'm great at like in-person stuff. I'm great at frontline stuff. That's my bag. That's my bag. Okay. Religion and debate. Okay. It depends on how toxic they are. Lots of Christians are hierarchical and insist on certain dogma. Jewish culture builds in people sitting around debating theological points. True. And I also feel like that's also a big part of Islam too. Islam is very much on that too. Like Christians are very just uneducated people out of all the religions, because Islam's about being educated. Judaism too. Random side note: I was actually almost got converted into Orthodox Jewish. Became Orthodox Jew when I was. God damn it! You can't even say Jew. Orthodox Jewish person. I might have just got flagged right now for saying that, but as Orthodox Jewish person, I almost got converted into being. Now I'm talking about backwards. I am Yoda, y'all. I am Yoda right now. That's what's happening. I'm going full Yoda with this shit. No, but I almost got converted by my foster dad specifically. So no, I get it. Like it's definitely about education. You can still be indoctrinated while educated. I must say. Look at any academic. Okay. Every week, my parents' church chants a prayer for the president and armed forces fighting for peace and freedom everywhere. Peach and freedom. I like that better though. Fighting for peach and freedom. You must have them peach. The peach shape. You know what I mean? You must have that. If you don't, then we gotta go to war with you, apparently, because that's how America does it. I like peach better. I know I see your correction. I see you. But I like peach better. Looking for them peach booties, and they're trying to colonize everywhere so they can get a peach booty. They need to get their exercise and cardio in so they can have a peach booty. And if they're not running and colonizing everywhere, their booty will get flat. That's really what the war's about. Keeping the booty nice and firm. You know what I mean? Oh shit! I'm clowning, bro. I'm sorry. Behind the Bastard has a lot of episodes on cults, fascists, and law enforcement. If anyone wants to learn more about the common factors and psychology, okay, real talk. Shoot. It might be because having neurodivergence is a type of marginalization, so we recognize the injustice. I missed how that applied. I have the wisdom of Yoda. I know how to use the Force, right? Oh yeah, that was playing joke. I had to make it. Let's see. That's a good. Okay, they're not to me. My bad. Putting stuff up there. It's not supposed to be up there. Is that fighting for the peaches, or is that fighting for the what's it called? Oh my god. Rutabaga. Yeah. Okay. Let me go back to this thing so I can read it in context. Yeah, see, like I told me, I be having ADHD crucially. I'm having a great time with y'all, but we've been going for an hour and a half. I should probably pull the plug on it. We all over the place, but I appreciate everybody tuning in, rock with me. Share this if you can, you know what I mean? Share this link everywhere. You know what I mean? You feel obliged to. That means, well, I guess you can't share you can share on Instagram to Facebook to YouTube, you know what I mean? Thanks for rocking with me, and it was good to have this conversation with y'all, and let's build for real. If people are trying to build on the ground right now, I'm in Texas, so if y'all around the DFW area, holla at me. We can connect for sure, and also, we're always down to build here artistically as well, not just revolutionary shit, you know what I mean? Because I make music, all that type of stuff, I got some new CD coming out soon too, y'all will fuck with, called 5 Rings. And even got some of the people who watch me on here that provide some of these beats, because shout out to Giant Tsunami. It's been a minute since I've seen them, so but shout out, they made some fire beats for me, and I appreciate it, you know what I mean? But I'm gonna go ahead and rock off, but damn, that sounds wrong. Everything I'm saying sounds wrong for some reason. I'm gonna log off, get out. Make sure to leave a comment in the comment section so we can bump this algorithmically and people can watch it. But peace, y'all. Be safe. end the stream.